Have you ever woken up in the morning and just felt slower? Not just your body, but your mind too, like your energy isn't quite where it used to be, even after a full night's sleep. Maybe your knees ache a little when you stand, or it takes you longer to get moving. And maybe, deep down, there's a little voice wondering, is this just what getting older feels like? Well, here's the truth. Yes, our bodies change with age. That's natural, but that doesn't mean we have to accept feeling tired, stiff, or disconnected. Growing older doesn't have to mean growing weaker. In fact, this stage of life, this chapter after 65, can be rich, strong, full of joy, and even longer than you might expect when you build the right habits into your days. That's what we're here to talk about today. 7 habits, simple, powerful, and surprisingly easy to begin, that can add not just years to your life, but more life to your years. And no, I'm not talking about expensive supplements, drastic diets, or grueling workouts. These are changes you can start making right where you are, right now, one step at a time. Let's get into it, starting with something you already know you should do, but maybe haven't fully embraced yet. I'm talking about movement. Gentle, consistent, daily movement. Now, I'm not going to tell you to run a marathon or sign up for a boot camp class. That's not what this is about. This is about keeping your body in motion in a way that feels good for you. See, after 65, one of the biggest risks to your health isn't necessarily disease, it's inactivity. The less we move, the more our muscles weaken, our joints stiffen, and our balance fades. And once that happens, things like walking to the mailbox or carrying groceries start to feel harder. But the good news, the reverse is true too. The more you move, even just a little, the stronger and steadier you become. I know a man, he's 72 now, who decided to start walking every morning just around the block. At first, he had to rest halfway through, but within a few weeks, he was walking a full mile. He said it made him feel like he got his legs back. That's the power of daily movement. It gives you back your confidence, your independence, and yes, it helps your heart, your lungs, and even your brain. You don't need a gym membership. You just need to move more than you sit. Take short walks, dance in your kitchen, stretch while watching your favorite show, march in place during commercials. If you can do more, great. But even these small movements, done regularly, keep your body active and your spirit lifted. Now, while movement is a cornerstone, your body also needs the right fuel to keep going strong. And that brings us to the second habit, eating with intention. Notice I didn't say dieting. I don't believe in harsh food rules, especially not at this stage of life. But I do believe in nourishing your body with real food that helps you feel energized, not sluggish. After 65, your metabolism slows down and your digestive system becomes a little more sensitive. So you don't need giant portions, but you do need quality. Think color on your plate, fresh vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and lean proteins like fish, chicken, or beans. It doesn't have to be complicated. A baked sweet potato with some grilled salmon and steamed broccoli, that's a powerhouse meal right there. And let's talk about hydration. It's one of the most overlooked keys to feeling better fast. As we get older, our sense of thirst fades. You might not feel thirsty, but your body still needs water. Dehydration can lead to fatigue, confusion, even dizziness. Try keeping a water bottle nearby and take sips throughout the day. If plain water feels boring, add a slice of lemon or cucumber to keep it refreshing. One woman I met started replacing her mid-afternoon soda with herbal tea and a handful of almonds. In just a month, she said her digestion improved, her skin felt better, and she wasn't as tired in the evenings. It's not about giving up everything you love. It's about making gentle shifts that work with your body, not against it. Now that your body is moving and getting the nourishment it needs, there's another piece to the puzzle, and this one's a little quieter, but just as important. It's sleep. Not just time in bed, but real restorative sleep that allows your body and brain to recharge. And let's be honest, it's not always easy. Have you noticed that you're waking up more during the night, or that it takes longer to fall asleep than it used to? That's actually common with age. But that doesn't mean it's hopeless. Sleep isn't a luxury. It's essential for your immune system, your memory, and even your mood. Without it, everything else feels harder. So how do you improve sleep naturally? One of the best things you can do is create a bedtime routine. Your body likes rhythm. Try winding down the same way each night. Dim the lights after dinner, turn off the TV an hour before bed, maybe read a few pages from a book or listen to calm music. Avoid caffeine late in the day and keep your bedroom cool and quiet. If you find your mind racing at night, try writing down your thoughts before bed. Just a few lines in a notebook can clear your head and help you relax. And don't underestimate the power of daylight. Getting outside in the morning, even for a few minutes, helps set your body's natural sleep-wake rhythm. A man I know started going outside with his coffee at sunrise. He said it helped him sleep more soundly at night just from getting that early light on his face. These are small things, but over time they make a huge difference. Sleep is your body's repair shop. It's where healing happens. So when you honor that, when you make rest a priority, your body rewards you with clearer thinking, steadier energy, and a better mood. And who doesn't want to wake up feeling refreshed instead of foggy? Now that we've talked about moving your body, fueling it well, and letting it rest, you're already laying the foundation for a longer, stronger life. These are habits that anyone can start today, not someday. No matter your age, your history, or your starting point, you can make choices that build a healthier future. Let's keep going. Now that your body is getting the movement, nourishment, and rest it truly deserves, we can focus on something just as essential, something that doesn't always show up in blood work or on a scale, but that deeply affects your well-being. I'm talking about connection. Real, meaningful connection with other people. The kind that lifts your spirits, reminds you of your worth, and keeps you rooted when life feels unsteady. You know, as we get older, our social circles tend to shrink. Friends move away, family gets busy, some loved ones may pass on. And if we're not careful, it becomes easier and easier to spend whole days without having a real conversation. But here's the thing, loneliness isn't just sad. It's harmful. In fact, research shows that chronic loneliness can be just as damaging to your health as smoking or obesity. But here's the hopeful part, you don't need dozens of people around you. Just one or two real, reliable connections can make all the difference. Maybe that's a neighbor you wave to each morning. Maybe it's your sister, your old high school friend, or someone you met in a community group. Maybe it's someone you've lost touch with and want to reconnect. One woman I spoke with recently told me that every Sunday, she calls a different friend she hasn't spoken to in a while. It's her connection day, and it's given her something to look forward to all week. That's the power of human contact. Even a short phone call can brighten your mood and calm your nervous system. If you're not sure where to begin, try something simple. Join a group at your local library or community center. Many towns offer book clubs, walking groups, or senior fitness classes. Some churches have programs specifically for older adults. You don't even have to commit long-term, just show up once and see how it feels. Most people are more welcoming than we give them credit for. And if you prefer staying home, there are online groups too. You can join virtual game nights, hobby groups, or even attend workshops via Zoom. It might feel strange at first, but connection is always worth the effort. And beyond the emotional benefits, staying socially engaged also keeps your brain active. When you talk to others, listen to their stories, share your thoughts, that's exercise for your mind. It keeps your memory sharper and your thinking quicker. It's a simple thing, but a deeply powerful habit that adds quality and years to your life. Speaking of your mind, let's shift into a habit that takes care of your mental health in a deeper way, managing stress. You've lived long enough to know that stress never truly goes away. Life throws things at us, health worries, money issues, family problems, even just the news, and it's easy for the weight of it all to settle on your shoulders. But how you handle that stress makes all the difference. Letting it fester, letting it simmer inside you can quietly hurt your heart, your immune system, even your sleep. But when you learn how to release it, or at least soften its grip, you give yourself space to breathe again. One of the simplest, most powerful tools is breath itself. Deep, steady, intentional breathing. Sounds too easy, right? But just a few deep breaths can send a message to your body that you're safe. Try this with me for a moment. Inhale through your nose for a count of 4, hold it for 4, and exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 4. Just doing that 3 times a day can calm your nerves and center your thoughts. Another beautiful tool is nature. Stepping outside, sitting in your garden, listening to birds, feeling the sun on your face, these are not small things. They are powerful forms of medicine. They don't cost anything and they work. I know a gentleman who takes his coffee out to the porch every morning, rain or shine. He says it's his moment of peace before the day begins. And don't overlook creative outlets. Whether it's painting, writing, knitting, or building something with your hands, getting into that creative flow is a powerful way to release tension. It takes you out of your head and into the present moment. One man I know started wood carving at 70. He said it gave him something to focus on that wasn't worry. And here's something important to remember. It's okay to ask for help. Sometimes stress builds up because we think we have to carry it alone. But talking to someone, a friend, a counselor, a spiritual guide can lighten that load more than you think. You are not weak for needing support. You're human. Managing stress doesn't mean eliminating every problem. It means learning to move through life with a little more grace, a little more self-kindness. It's a gift you give yourself, and it shows up in your blood pressure, your smile, your sense of calm. Now, there's one more habit I want to share in this part of our journey together. It's something a little less tangible, but maybe the most important of all. And that's cultivating a positive outlook. Because believe it or not, how you think about aging, how you think about yourself, can actually affect how long you live. There's a fascinating study that followed people for decades and found that those who had a positive view of aging lived an average of 7 years longer than those who didn't. 7 years, that's more than exercise, more than diet, that's the power of your mind. So what does that look like in practice? It means choosing to believe that your best days aren't behind you. That your age is not a limitation, but a sign of strength, of experience, of resilience. It means waking up and looking for things to be grateful for, even if it's just a warm blanket, a familiar song, or the smell of fresh coffee. It also means being mindful of your words. How often do you hear yourself say, "I'm too old for that," or "At my age, it's too late"? What if you change that to, "I'm still here and I can still grow"? That shift might seem small, but it changes your energy, your choices, and even your health. And no, this doesn't mean pretending everything's perfect. Life has its aches and losses, of course. But choosing to see what's still good, what's still possible, that's a quiet kind of power. A kind of joy that bubbles up from the inside and gives you strength, even on the hard days. You're not done, you are not your aches. You are not your age. You are a living, breathing, thinking, feeling person with stories left to tell and memories still to make. And when you live with that kind of mindset, life tends to rise up and meet you. You've come this far with me, and I hope by now you're feeling not only encouraged but empowered. These habits we've been talking about, moving your body, eating well, resting deeply, staying connected, managing stress, and maintaining a positive outlook, they're not just ideas on a list. They're building blocks for a longer, fuller, more meaningful life. And now we come to the final habit, one that pulls everything together and gives it a sense of purpose. It's this: keep learning, keep growing, and never stop being curious. Just because the number on your birthday cake goes up doesn't mean your growth is over. In fact, staying mentally engaged is one of the most effective ways to stay young, not just in years, but in spirit. Think about the last time you learned something new. It could have been a recipe, a new card game, how to use a smartphone app, or even how to fix a leaky faucet. Do you remember that feeling of discovery? That little spark of accomplishment, that's your brain coming alive. And when you keep your brain active and challenged, it stays sharper longer. There's a myth out there that says we stop learning after a certain age. But I can tell you with absolute certainty that's simply not true. I've met people in their 70s and 80s learning to play instruments, starting YouTube channels, writing poetry, and even going back to school online just because they can. You don't have to become a genius or an expert, you just have to stay curious, ask questions, read, explore, listen to podcasts, try puzzles, learn a new language, take a class at your local senior center. Even something as simple as switching up your routine or walking a new path can wake up your brain and make life feel fresh again. One man I know took up painting in his late 60s. He'd never picked up a brush before, but he thought, why not? A few years later, he was exhibiting his work at the town library. Not because he was trying to become famous, but because he was enjoying the process. That's what this is about. Doing things that make your brain and your heart feel alive. It's not just good for your mental sharpness either. When you stay engaged in learning and creativity, it actually helps reduce the risk of cognitive decline and diseases like dementia. Your brain, just like your muscles, stays stronger the more you use it. So instead of asking, "Can I still learn something new?" try asking, "What have I always wanted to try but never got around to?" This is your time. Your schedule is yours now. Your wisdom is deep. You don't need permission to explore or experiment. And the world still has so much to offer you if you're willing to stay open to it. And that brings us to something deeper. Because this journey we're on together isn't just about years on a calendar. It's about quality, meaning, feeling good in your skin, having a reason to smile when you wake up. That's what longevity really means, not just more time, but more life in that time. Now, I know that sometimes change can feel overwhelming. You might be thinking, this all sounds great, but where do I even begin? And here's what I want you to hear. You don't need to do everything at once. Just start with one thing, one tiny shift. Maybe today you go for a short walk after lunch. Maybe tonight you turn off the TV a little earlier and read a few pages of a book. Maybe tomorrow you call someone you haven't spoken to in a while. That's all it takes to begin. These small changes, they add up. They create momentum. And soon you're not just living the same old routine, you're building a life that feels better, more vibrant, more awake, more yours. You are still in charge of your health. You are still in charge of your choices. And every good habit you practice is a message to yourself. I care about this life. I care about me. So let's take a breath together, just you and me, and reflect on what's possible. Imagine what the next year could look like if you gently, consistently started weaving these habits into your days. You could feel stronger in your body, sharper in your mind, more connected to your community, and more joyful in your heart. Not by chasing perfection, but by choosing progress one moment at a time. Remember, you don't need to go it alone either. If this video spoke to you, leave a comment below and tell me, what's one habit you're going to try this week? Your words might inspire someone else to take that first step too. And if you found value in this, give it a thumbs up. It really helps others find this message. And if you want more guidance, encouragement, and uplifting content just like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a new video. You have so much life left to live. So many stories still to tell. And these habits aren't just for living longer, they're for living better. With more peace, more laughter, more connection, and more days that truly feel like yours. You've made it this far, you've weathered storms and celebrated joys. And the path ahead, it's still wide open. Here's to stronger steps, deeper breaths, and brighter mornings. Here's to rediscovering what makes you feel alive. Here's to living your best life at any age.